So every 5 years there is there's a recycling of leadership. And in all those 5 years, or actually those different 5 years, you might even be given a new portfolio. And that's why I say it's the only person who qualified to be the founding father of this and this and this. To begin with, as an example, in 2012, all heads of campuses were given a designation of campus directors. And he was the founding campus director of Katima Mulilo campus. After a cycle of 5 years, those portfolios were changed and redesigned. They became campus associate provice chancellors. And he became the founding provice chancellor at the campus on that period. After 5 years, that position was again redesigned and renamed back to the original one, become campus director, which was from 2021 up to the present. Still, Prof. Kangumu became the founding campus director of Katima Mulilo campus. This was not by mistake or by any form of corruption. It was because of his own merit. He did it, he got it on his merit. So, under Professor Kangumu, as regional leadership, the Katima Mulilo campus evolved and grew exponentially. Here below are some of the very significant and notable feats. If we would have gone, make the whole list, we would be boring you with all what he has done for us. But I thought of maybe 2 or 3 or 4 things, then the rest we will look at them later. In the issue of program offerings, the campus initially had only one program offer, and that was education. But by the time of his departure, because of his leadership, the campus is now a host to 4 faculties, 9 schools, 20 academic programs. When you compare these to a single program in 2011, that is an indication of who he was in terms of vision, a visionary leader. He also foresaw, within that context, Prof. Kangumu foresaw the establishment of the very unique department which we call the Department of Wildlife, and is affectionately known as our second campus. Because there's a history to that, but it did not just come on the silver platter. I remember on more than one occasion, he would say, people misunderstand this thing. For us as a campus to secure a structure of value to $150 million, did not just come on a silver platter. It took in negotiations, it took in other things. And it's because of who he was. He knew how to negotiate, he knew how to take and give. And one thing which I liked about him, he will not force you to understand things. He would rather makes you understand that is his position. And because of that, we can attest what he has done and achieved for us. It's really painful, and indeed hard training that this campus, I'm talking of the second campus, will be inaugurated, which is next month, posthumously, meaning in his absence. It's so painful, because those are the fruits of, those will be the traits of the fruit of his traits. Not only that, we also have a unique program which we call animal health. And those 2 programs combined, he will always call them or refer to them as we do also. Those were flagship programs. They were flagship in the context that they are unique. We are the only campus who offer those 2 programs in the entire Namibia. And these were strategically developed. Also, under his leadership, we saw and witnessed the student enrollment, starting from 300 when we started in 2011, by this time as we are, we have enrollment of over 2,000, making us the fourth largest campus of the 12 campuses of the University of Namibia. And that's because of his leadership. Given our population in this region, we should have been maybe the 10th or so, because we are a very small population, region-wise, because our feeders is our own region. Of course, we do take all students from elsewhere in the region, even beyond the region and beyond the country. But a campus survives on the students who are from that region. So what did we do? Because of his leadership, we were able to attract more students outside the region than our own students, making us the fourth largest campus in around the university campuses. Infrastructure, I've already referred to. The other important part, which also demonstrated his academic leadership, which has less been discussed about, is how far the campus has gone in terms of research output. Up to this year, up to the moment, each time we meet at the university, at the appropriate and designed places, where we will give our output in terms of research, I can confidently say, even in the presence of the VC here, we have not gotten a campus which competed with us in terms of performance on research. We have been actually the best in terms of output. Each time we would create a target, we would actually surpass that target. It did not just come by accident or by mistake. It was because of good leadership of the person we are now mourning. So, dear mothers, when we are referring to all these things, when we say your loss is our loss, it's not a joke. We have lost a leader in many ways. A person who is compassionate, a person who understands who you are, and when he sees that you are frustrated, here are my staff members who are here, who can also testify what I'm saying. He will find a way, he will find time that you and him sit and then talk over that thing. And that's the type of the leadership which might not find elsewhere. In most cases, you'll find people in his position would have more enemies than colleagues at work. He was different. So, in conclusion, let me also mention something also here, on another level, that Professor Kangumu has described most of the campus the personnel as being described by most of us from the campus as a God-fearing man. I can also tell you the reason why we are having these choirs from other churches. Prof. Kangumu was a Seventh-day Adventist. But in one of his wishes, he said, I would want to have these choirs. Actually, these choirs who are not coming from the Seventh Advent, you have been invited by the late because of the type of the music you have been sharing. Yes, every time, especially in that annual event of the gospel music, gospel program, he was moved and actually drawn to your music. So you are here on his invitation, if you never knew that. Finally, we will remember Professor Kangumu for his open door policy, where all were invited to meet him. He was an ardent listener, wise counselor, motivator, with innovative ideas on campus. There is indeed a lot that us as staff members from Katima Molilo can mention, but that will keep us here for the whole day. And on that note, we want to express our heartfelt condolences to the family, most especially to Dr. Zinche for this loss. Your loss is our loss. May the Lord bless us all.
That was Dr. Charles Chatter, the acting director of Katima Mulilo campus. You know, in the African culture, when a neighbor is cooking and they don't have salt or water in the house, and they come to you asking for salt or water, you don't say no, even though that was the last salt in your kitchen, or whether that was the last drop of water in the house, because of the solidarity that we have in the African culture, and specifically the Namibian culture. That is the type of neighborhood that we had between the Katima campus and the Rundu campus where I came from. When we were in need of either human resources or material resources, I would pick up a phone and call Prof. Kangumu, and he was always happy to help. He would say, "My sister, don't worry. These are human resources and we shall share them." He treated resources as salt and water. And I hope, Dr. Chatter, you will continue that neighborhood and relationship between the two campuses. I now want to call upon our Vice Chancellor, Professor Bennett Kangumu, to come and present two items, a message from the President of the country and his own message on behalf of the university. Prof. Kangumu.
Thank you very much, Prof. Miranda. Good afternoon. Dear Monas, as indicated, I will first read the message from the President, and then I will say my own. The message reads as follows. Message of condolences for the late Professor Dr. Bennett Kangumu. I have learned with a deep sense of sadness about the passing of your beloved husband, father, and family member, the late Professor Bennett Kangumu, on the 24th of September 2024. Truly, this is a difficult time of sorrow for you, the children, the bereaved family, and the entire people of Namibia. Therefore, I hereby extend my sincere condolences on behalf of the government and on behalf of the Republic of Namibia. You have lost a dear husband, a loving father, an uncle, a friend, and Namibia has also lost a brightly shining young star who made significant contributions to our education sector and the academic development of our youth. Throughout his life in his various roles as a teacher, as a professor, as an author, and as director of the University of Namibia Katima Mulilo campus, the late Dr. Kangumu taught and imparted to our youth the essential ethos of nation building. These are hard work, self-respect, respect of others, inclusivity, leadership, academic development, and community upliftment, as has been testified by others. His passing has left an irreplaceable void in the family, both the social and academic communities, and the entire Namibian society. As we lay him to rest, Professor Dr. Kangumu, I pray that the family and all of us will continue to cherish his deeds of selfless service to the Namibian people and elsewhere. As we remember Dr. Kangumu's legacy of upliftment of our society through research and education, let it serve as a beacon of inspiration for us to continue holding hands and building a peaceful and prosperous Namibian house. Rest in eternal peace, Dr. Professor Bennett Kangumu, son of the Namibian soil, and is signed by His Excellency Dr. Nangolo. Having presented that message, let me also speak now as a Vice Chancellor, but I'm a little bit in a difficulty because I'm also family. So you'll find that I'm combining perhaps what I'm saying. I want to start my message by asking a question. Why do we name our children in the way we do? The choice of name, why does it matter? Now, Bennett was born on the 17th of June, 1973, as you have heard, and his parents chose to name him Bennett. The name Bennett has Latin origin, similar to Benedictus. It means the one who is blessed, the one who carries good things, or the one who is well spoken of. In Hebrew, this Bennett is called Bashusus. It also means the one who carries blessings. I do not know whether the parents knew this, but they named him as such, as the one who carries blessings. It is very tempting for me to talk a little bit about his upbringing, as I said, as a family. But I am not going to do that because that is not the role of a Vice Chancellor. I would rather speak only about the time we have been at the university. When Professor Kangumu was in his second year, I was doing my first year in the university. I was commuting for the first months from Katutura at the late Charles Muyokela's house, and he was in the hostel. After the week, he told me, Mwanjamu, it means you can use my place for now. I'll find a way for myself until you are sorted. And it didn't take long. After a few days, I had my own room. Professor Kangumu had, as the name Bennett says, he carried blessings and he was cherished. In his second year and part of the third year, his professors had decided that he was doing so well that they decided to hire him as a tutor. That is the system the University of Namibia uses to raise leaders, tutor and then staff development and so on. What what might look different to you was that his first paper was actually not something to do with history. In 1997, his paper was about the life and suffering of those who sleep in the sewage pipes. That paper is actually titled Malala Pipes. It is in an edited book by Hahoff Dorian, and the title of the book is The Inner Eye, the Namibian Poetry in Process. That is something he wrote in his final year in 97. Why would he write something about that? I want to believe is because he cared very deeply about the people who are neglected, people who need a hand. But he was also aware of the fact that he cannot impact a community without enriching himself and making himself more wiser. So when the university gave him a staff development status, he used it very effectively. Those of you who knew him, you would know that he was a man who was maximizing potential and taking advantage of opportunities whenever they come. I will not speak about his qualifications and so on because those were already referred to, and his contribution to social studies and textbooks and study guides that are used in our school system. When he fell ill, he called me, and of course with his wife they visited Bendo, and he told me, I have been diagnosed with this difficult illness, and it's not going to change. But I'm not telling you as a Vice Chancellor because I know what you're going to do. You did that to Ikando. You move people. I'm telling you as your elder brother, so you cannot question my decision. He knew, of course, I was going to say, if this is the case, we move you closer to health facilities. So we had a discussion about this with also Prof. At some stage, I was even upset. But he said, there's a reason why I'm at this campus. There's a specific purpose why I'm here. You talk a lot about purpose. I want to realize mine. So, we agreed to disagree. Days forward, in the last couple of months, whenever he had treatment, we'd spend a lot of time. And that is why Prof. Ricardo was saying what he said. And in one of those encounters, he told me, you have to have peace about this. I didn't answer him. I traveled to Germany, and that day when I arrived there, Prof. Ricardo told me, as we would say, Mujahaj Chalwala, they'll bring him in the ambulance. When they arrived, he spoke, he asked, where is Kenneth? And Prof called me. I told him, tell him to wait, I'm coming. I came back from Austria that same Thursday. I went to the hospital and he repeated to me, have you made peace? I told him, I cannot have peace about that. Maybe it is you who should. He said, no, you should have peace because it's me who is going home. I'm saying this just to relate to the family members that he was at peace. He had accepted. He knew it was God's plan. He had fulfilled his purpose, as you know. I want to add a little bit to this. As I reflected a little bit about Dr. Kangumu's life, I was reminded of Albert Pike, who said, what we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. But that which we have done for others remains immortal forever. And we must think now, what did Kangumu do for others? That stays with you. How are we going to cherish that and make his legacy live forever? But I was also thinking a little bit deeper, and in my own world, I remembered a saying by Martin Luther, who says, any man who has not found something to die for is not fit to live. Any man who has not found something to die for is not fit to live. And Prof. Kangumu was very committed in his work. The colleague knows, sometimes I would call and I would say, what are you doing in the office? Or we come here for the graduation, he is not well. Then remain, and he still comes. That was his commitment. It was a sense of purpose that is very inner. Actually, the Latin or Greek name for purpose is proposal. It means to plan and design something that moves you inner. It is very deep, and we all have to think about what our own purpose is. Are we prepared to die for that purpose? His scientific work is very well known. A month ago, I got a call from UNESCO reminding me about the work that me and him did. They said they want a new version of that because there's a gap. And I called him. He says, oh, of course we can do that. And I was telling him, but this is not something you must concentrate or worry about now. So, are we considering his life as something that we will use as an example in our lives now and in the future? The university, of course, has lost a prolific researcher and someone who was delivering on time whatever it was required of him. But what he has written, the books that are in the library, journals, wherever, no one can take that away from him. It will be cited forever and ever. To the widow, Bennett Kangumu, she knows I call her that. Kindly accept the university's sincere condolences for this loss. May God's love and peace comfort you as you find solace during this very difficult time. Many men find a woman to marry by choice or out of their choice. But a few are blessed and given a wife by God. I want to repeat that. Many men find a woman to marry out of choice. But a few men are blessed and given a wife by God. You were a blessing and God's gift to Prof. Kangumu. He loved you very much,